Thank you all for coming this evening. I would like to bring our meeting to order. So this is the regular meeting of September 5th, 2017. So please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Allen,
He's here.
Broughton,
Here.
Darnell,
Here.
De Palma,
Here.
Cordella,
Here.
Marshall,
Here.
Thurman.
Here. Just so everyone knows, the clerk tonight is having trouble with her vocal cords, so she will be doing sign language, or we will be reading things for her, so just bear with us. She's trying to do the best she can. I'm glad that she's able to come.
Yeah, I know the alphabet.
All right, at this time, we need to approve our agenda. Is there any?
I would like to make a
discussion?
motion that we amend the agenda to move discussion point A down to new business, under A, and then shift everything down. We know why all these people are here. They're not here to listen to us discuss Trail A again without taking any action. So I think it'd be doing a disservice to them if we discuss it once again and have no decision on the matter. So I'm moving, we move it to new business, and at the end, we can take a vote on it. Under discussion, we can't vote on it, so at least we'll have
Okay.
the ability to
understand
vote on it.
that. Is there any objection to moving it down to new business? Item A of discussion.
Well, do we all have to be in favor to move it, basically? How does that work?
Well, basically, trustee
made-
Marshall
I
is
made a
making a
motion.
motion to move it down, but you're making a motion to approve the agenda with an
The amendment,
amendment
right.
to move discussion A down to new business, under new business,
Okay.
to the first item of new business.
I just feel in a month we're making a,
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Oops, Cordella beat me.
Okay, because I thought it was a tie. All right, trustee Cordella will second that motion, so go ahead, Dana.
I was just gonna say, I just thought that we're meeting in a month to do everything on all the trails, and the subcommittee's been working on it, and we should give them the time before we make any decisions to make it fair for all of the residents, that's all.
I agree with you as well, but we can still do that discussion in new business as well as
Okay.
in the discussion item, is how I feel. I mean,
Well, it's just in new business, you can't make a decision, and,
Right.
or in new business, you can make a decision, and in discussion, you can't, so, that's all.
was there any other discussion? Did the clerk have anything to say? That one, no. Okay.
No, Kathy, the only other thing on the agenda that I saw nothing in the packet is this presentation from Safeware, and I have no idea what that is.
It's right at the,
Yeah, but-
it's just a presentation. There's nothing in the packet.
Presentation on what?
Oh, it's from Safewise on, well, you'll understand, during the presentation, it was to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office for
Okay, that's all I need to hear.
Brandon Township being the 10th safest community.
Oh, okay, fine.
in
I
Michigan.
just had no
You
idea
thought it
what
was a sales pitch, maybe?
We had actually talked about this at our last meeting, it was mentioned.
I guess I just didn't put the
Sometimes.
name with that is all. I
Okay.
just
Yeah,
didn't
I
get
Yeah,
it.
either.
there's a misprint. It should be Safewise, not
There you go.
Safeware.
Okay.
Yeah, Safeware makes it sound like it's software
Right.
that's safe or something.
Right.
Or Tupperware.
There you go.
Okay. Any other discussion on the agenda?
So we should change the agenda to say safe wise, too.
Yeah,
So that
it's
way
a
for our
typo.
minutes, well, but for our minutes, though. Okay.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, seconded by trustee Cordella, to approve the agenda with the amendment of moving item A of discussion down to item A of new business. Okay? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. So the agenda has been approved, and we can move on to our presentation, which we kind of already discussed. So I'll just come out here.
Okay, Dave's got pictures for it.
Speak to the board. It's a great honor that we have such a wonderful police presence in Brandon Township from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. And due to all of their efforts, we have been honored with being the 10th safest community or city. They call it city, but I will say community because we're a township in Michigan, which I think is a very prestigious honor, and I'm very glad that we have all of the officers that we do have working at our substation that are so dedicated that we could achieve this. So we do have a little certificate here, and I'd like to invite all the officers up so that we can present that to them.
Yeah.
Nice. Ah, good.
We'll just line you up. Get a picture in front of the board. You can be in front of the board.
Put a little thing in front of you so you do.
Am I getting a citizen, guys? There he is, right there.
You want me to get in between?
Right in the middle. There you go. Heck yeah.
I don't either.
Oh, I won't get you. Unless you do this.
I get the mug shot here, right? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Save your souls.
Okay, we'll move on to our reports this evening. First, we have a treasury report that we have every month, our general ledger report, our designated report, our reconciliation report, our building department report, the recreation report. We're just flying through these reports. Edna Burton Senior Center report and the CDBG report. So that was quick. That brings us to trustee reports, and we'll start down at Chris's end.
Yes, I just would like to report, I'm one of the people on the Trail Subcommittee, and just to give you folks an update, we had a meeting, what was that, about a week ago, a week and a half ago? Or was it just last Monday?
A week and a half ago.
Week and a half ago, yeah. And just want to let you know that we are proceeding with answering everyone's questions that have been submitted. We have tried to, consolidate any duplicates, and I think we've been very successful. Candy Hill is got a spreadsheet with all that information on it. She's done a wonderful job, and Jennifer Bickle has done a wonderful job. Everyone on the committee has actually done a wonderful job, working very hard, especially the volunteers from the community, to try and get good answers to all your questions. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Bob?
The only thing I have is, and I understand this whole trail issue is a hot button topic, and people are getting very emotional about it. I would ask that, number one, you sort of sit back and take a breath before you take some of the actions you do. We got a notice the other day that somebody's putting flyers in the mailboxes. No postage. It's a violation of federal law to put
Exactly,
things
yeah.
into a US post office box.
do that,
Can't do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, one group has actually mailed things out, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to go up to the door and hand them out, I have no problem with that. Just be careful what you're doing, and no matter how hot a topic it is, don't break the law trying to make your point. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Well put.
Dana?
I just wanted to add to Trustee Marshall's statement about the trail flyers. Also, I wish that if you would do it, you'd have accurate information on some of the flyer that we received. I just wasn't sure it was all accurate. That's what the subcommittee is still working on. So all those answers will hopefully be to us in a month. So don't spread stuff, it's kind of like don't spread rumors. I just wish, because that way then you guys are going to think that we're voting on something. You're going to say, well, this is what the flyer said, but the flyer might not be true. And I know that's just the way things go, but just bugs me. But the Retirement Oversight Committee is working on planning a meeting. Hopefully, we haven't met in a while, but, and then also today was first day back to school, so watch out for those school buses and please, follow the laws when it comes to them, keep our kids safe, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Scott?
Yeah, there's just one thing. We have 2 grants going out there right now, one for the Township Park and one for the concession stand here in Sherman Park. And there's been some pushback now. Part of the requirement of that grant application was to have an agreement for a 40-year lease from the village on the actual building property. There was some pushback from the village. They didn't want to do that, so they asked Fred to go back and see if they could make it just a 25-year lease. There was a question whether or not they could go back and forth. Fred has since heard back from his grant people, and no, 25 years is not acceptable. It has to be a 40. So unless the village agrees to do the 40-year lease, that grant is dead, which is a shame. And it's going to have to, I think at this point, it's going to have to start over for next year, and the village will just have to apply for it instead. It makes no difference, I don't think, to anybody on this board if the village puts their name on it. The only problem with all this now is that it's another year that we don't have for updating that facility. So just wanted to keep everybody updated on that.
Okay, thank you. Next is the treasurer's report.
Well, the last day to pay taxes without penalty is September 14th. It is fast coming. After that, there is a 1% penalty on the unpaid portion of your taxes only per month. We can accept full and partial payments with penalty at our office through February 28th. So it's not like there's some big time crunch, other than you will receive a 1% penalty on the unpaid portion. At that time, as of March 1st, any unpaid portions of summer and winter bills then go to Oakland County, because the townships have to balance to the state of Michigan. Remember, there's a drop box in front of the building over by the park side for any after-hour payments. And as always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to call our office. It's 248-627-2853. We'll be happy to answer all we can.
All right, thank you, Terry. For the clerk's report, and she actually has a long report tonight, but I will be helping her with it. She wanted to thank you for your time coming to the meeting tonight. And she attended the following. On August 17th, a cemetery maintenance meeting with Rosalind Blair. On August 21st, Groveland Township had a meeting to discuss CDBG funds at their senior center, our senior center. They don't have one. For the ADA kitchen renovation. She is going to attend Oakland County Election Division training on September 7th and 8th to learn about the new equipment. We will be holding an Oxford school election on November 7th this year, and the absentee voter applications were mailed on Friday, August 24th of this year. If you live in Brandon Township in the Oxford School District area and want to have your ballot mailed to you, please call or stop by the clerk's office to make your request. Finally, she would like to address the board. So we're both going to address the board.
Oh. She's gonna dance.
As a member of this 7-person board, I would like to state that the voters of Brandon Township chose us to represent them and make the best possible decisions for our community. We may not agree on every issue, but at the end of the day, we need to respect and support each other in order to serve our taxpayers. At the July 10th board meeting, all 7 of us voted unanimously to adopt the principles of township governance excellence. The Brandon Township Board pledges to insist on the highest standards of ethical conduct by all who act on behalf of this township. Bring credit, honor, and dignity to our public offices through collegial board deliberations and through diligent, appropriate responses to constituent concerns. Actively pursue education and knowledge and to embrace best practices. Treat all persons with dignity, respect, and impartiality without prejudice or discrimination. Practice openness and transparency in our decisions and actions. Cooperate in all reasonable ways with other government entities and to consider the impact our decisions may have outside our township's borders. Communicate to the public township issues, challenges, and successes, and welcome the active involvement of stakeholders to further the township's well-being. Strive for compliance with state and federal statutory requirements. Refuse to participate in any decisions or activities for personal gain at the expense of the best interest of the township. Further, the understanding of the obligations and responsibilities of American citizenship, democratic government, and freedom. These principles were pledged to our citizens, our state, and to our country. If any of us choose not to give each other, our planning board, zoning board, the board of review, fire department, police department, department heads for building, recreation, and senior center, respect and be open-minded, then perhaps we need to be replaced through a recall by the residents if we aren't willing to make Brandon Township the best it can be. I ask that we all make a joint effort to make this board responsible to our residents. Okay. Okay, all done. As far as the supervisor's report tonight, I don't have too much. Our proposed budgets have been emailed to the board. We'll start our budget workshops on September 21st, when we do our truth and taxation hearing. I met with HRC on the progress of the soil boring results, and they will be bringing a report to the board with their recommendations. But they have informed me that the plume is moving to the west and is now safe to repave the driveway. So I will be moving forward with the driveway and the generator estimates. Part of the driveway, though, is owned by the village, so we will have to work with them on that project. And the next Trails Subcommittee meeting is September 11th at 2:30 p.m. here at the township offices.
When was that again? Sorry.
September 11th at 2:30 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The township offices. That's it for the supervisor's report. And for correspondence tonight, we have the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minutes of June 28th, 2017, and the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minutes of July 26th, 2017. So at this time, we will take citizens' comments on agenda items only. So if you would like to make a comment on an agenda item, we ask that you hold it to 3 minutes, and you address the board when you make your comment, and please keep it civil. So if there's someone that would like to make a comment, I know Rick's looking at me. Pardon me? At the end, no, if it's on no new business, anything on the agenda is now when you would like to make your comment. If you would like to make a comment on something other than, or an item that's not on our agenda tonight, then you would wait till the end of the meeting. It's still on the agenda. It's still on the agenda. Yes, Rick, come on up.
Hi, I'm Rick Gibbons. You've heard me all before. Okay. I know ITC trail route was taken off because of the amount of people they got on a petition. So we took up a petition. We had 87 signatures on it. We were told there was 145 residents. Last Thursday, I was told that my 87 been cut down to 64, and now there was 246 parcels. Okay? So I sent out a team and collected 117 signatures over the weekend. In addition to the 87 we already had, I also got 18 from the new subdivision in Pheasant Ridge. Okay? Because they will abut 2 of the routes. They do not want to be any part of any route.
Can I just, for some clarification, so 117 new signatures, and then on top of that was the 87 you'd already gotten? Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
And then I got 18 from Pheasant Ridge.
All right.
Okay, so we have a grand total of 222. We had 12 people that wanted it out of that count. Okay? Vacant parcels, I can't get a signature from a vacant piece of property, okay? And you consider the holiday weekend for us to get 117, I thought that was pretty good, okay? And then on top of that, if you want to get technical, a lot of these people own 2 parcels on the same route. I was told they could only sign once. I had one petition where they did sign twice. So I don't know how to comply to this to get a right count on it, okay? I also counted 240 hidden driveways along this route. 30 roads, 9 of them major, so that means the other ones are hidden roads, okay? And you have 5 hills that cannot meet the 5% grade that they give you on the mandate on how to do this trail. So if you look at all that, to me, Route A should be taken off the consideration for a route altogether. Because I'm more than exceeded in my co-workers of getting enough signatures to take this off. And you guys can move on to another dairy subject. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. Did anyone else want to make a comment on the agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Still doing the address thing? My name is Cheryl Rohr. I'm 1765 Hummer Lake Road. Yeah, as far as the petition thing goes too, I own 2 properties. Do I get 1 signature or 2? My question would be, do I get to pay taxes once? Or do I have to pay taxes on 2? So if I pay taxes on 2, I should get to say twice, I don't want something. When it comes to elections, I'd like to point out when you guys were elected and you won by a certain amount of votes, we didn't say, oh, the poor 10% that didn't get what they wanted get to have that too. The person who won the most votes won the election, and that's why you're sitting here. So when you beat someone in an election, it goes your way. That's how voting works. So can I be explained, I know this is rhetorical, why if we have, and I was one of those people getting petitions, I had 3 people on my route that said they wanted it. The other 47 did not. So
if I may say something?
It's really comment time. but-
Okay, yeah, but I-
Because we'll be discussing it at later
Okay,
on in
all
the
right.
evening.
Remind me, I have an answer for you.
Okay. All right, so that's just, that's a big thing for me, it's like you keep saying you want the people who want the route, or who want the trail to be appeased as well. It doesn't work that way. That's not how life works. Either you win or you don't. That's why we vote. And as far as misinformation goes, I know nothing about those fires, just by the way. But I just wanted to say, is how can you say anything is misinformation when we haven't had one solid piece of information that's been consistent from the beginning? Nothing has been consistent. We've had this figure, this route, that route, this route. How about no route? We have voted on that. We have said we don't want this route. And there's still more people that say we don't want this route. And a lot of these people that I talked to, well, not a lot, a handful, didn't even know what we were talking about. Which means there are people who don't know the consequences of this. And we know the consequences are not good so far because we can't get a figure on it. So why should we have another meeting and another meeting and another meeting? It's just, again, it's just crazy. The route, there isn't a route that's been chosen. There is no good route. We're 36 square miles. We only have a certain amount of tax space. We've got 2 DNR things going on right now. It snowballs and snowballs and snowballs, and it's like, yeah, try and do this in your own personal finances. You guys are supposed to be financially, how do you say that? Fiscally responsible financially. And it's just like we're just mulling this over until we can get our way, or some of us can get our way. And this doesn't make any sense to me. And the last thing that crossed my mind is all these routes that are already existing are on the railroads, right? Have they ever put a bike trail through a neighborhood like this and been successful? Have they ever put a price tag on it? Have they been able to do it? As far as we know, no, because they've always used the railroads, right? So we're trying to do something that's unprecedented for a specific amount of money on a route that we don't know, that the majority of people don't want. Doesn't make much sense.
Okay, thank you. Did anyone else want to make a comment this evening on agenda items? You already made a comment.
Yeah, but I want to add something I forgot. I get nervous up there.
All right, come on up. This is the last time, though, for this part. If you have another comment,
for the day.
we'll wait for the end.
Also, as I talked to you, Rick Gibbons again, earlier today, you said you're only allowed 1 vote per piece of property. Yeah, now you're saying different, because you can have 2 people, like I pointed out, your friend. The man was against it, the wife was for it. So if you come up to a person and you ask for signatures, and the man and the wife both want to sign, and they both pay taxes, that's 2 votes. That's 2 signatures, okay? You can't say, no, you can't vote. And even their children, if I checked and they were over 18 and they voted, they should have got a vote. Because they live on that route just like their parents do. And if they don't want it on their road, so be it. You got to live with the facts, like the lady just said. And for us to do what we did over a holiday weekend, it should tell the town or the board something. That's it. I'm done.
All right, thank you. Did anyone else like to make, yes, ma'am?
Short girl problems. My name is Suzanne Saylor, Saylor. I live at 700 South Sashabaw. I am on the proposed Route A, and I was one of the ones that went out and got signatures. An award at the very beginning was just awarded to our sheriff's department, and we are in the top 10 for safest city, and I'd like to keep it like that. I just paper about an aggravated assault on a trail. I can't say which one, I don't remember, but I don't want to hear that all the time in our paper for aggravated assaults or anything against anyone. I know that can happen anywhere, but trails could be hard to take control of, you know, have our sheriffs out all the time. It's also the destruction of where we are living. And like the previous speaker said, most of the trails I've heard about are old railroad tracks. We aren't putting that on old railroad tracks. So we need better numbers. We need better statistics. And I am totally against it. And the majority of the people that I spoke to were against it on Route A. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, did anyone else want to take an opportunity? Yes, sir. Oh, go ahead.
I'm Robert Mikawa. I'm on 4215 Sherwood Road. Route A goes right in front of my house, and I'm opposed to the route. I'm opposed to the trail. And I'd like to ask the members of the board, would you support the trail if it went in front of your house? That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Could I have your last name again, Robert?
Mikawa,
How would you spell that?
Mikawa.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Cheryl, your last name? Roehrr. Thank you.
Hi, Glennis Hubbard. I live in the village. I guess I'd like to bounce off of what Cheryl had just mentioned about fiscal responsibility, Route A, B, C, D, E, whatever, whatever trail. I guess as a taxpayer here, I'm asking, and I know it's difficult to do, but that would kind of be the point here, to ask, really, how much is this going to cost? We have grants, we have donations, we have blah, blah, blah from a lot of people for the next couple of years, but there's still going to be a legacy cost attached to that, some kind of maintenance fees. The best that I have seen on an average scale has been $50,000. So where's my township going to come up with that money? If you can show a paper trail or how this is going to be managed, then maybe some people would be more in favor of it. If you can't, because you can't, then maybe you're voting prematurely. If you have numbers that you can maybe indicate, I know that the township is also looking at the possibility of sewers coming through the township at some point up and down M15, and I know there was communication with the village for a while. What's that going to cost me? I know that there's a little bit of wiggle room with the millage, and that you 7 people get to determine what the cost is going to be if there's going to be an increase in a millage, and so trails would be kind of running, trails and sewers. You guys have that opportunity to make that decision. Oh, we need more money. We need more money in the budget. What are we going to do? And this is a line item that can never go away. The sewers would be a line item that could never go away, and it would increase our taxes. We don't have an industry base in this town, obviously, to support anything. Would sewers bring it in, bring people in? We don't know. That too is a guesstimate. But to be fiscally responsible and to say just, this is approximately what it could end up costing you would be fair to give the people in the community, whether you choose A, B, C, D, or don't choose anything at all. It would just be fair to the taxpayers here in the township. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Name again, please.
I'll spell it for you.
Yes.
Okay. Hubbard.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dale Kramer. I live here in the community. I am in favor of the trail, as everyone probably knows, and I would be happy if it went along the front of my house. And I would hope the trustees would wait until the information is back from the subcommittee that you've delegated to collect the information, and hold off on doing any voting until you have all the information. I don't know what the discussion is tonight about, or the trail discussion tonight. I would hope that it's due in any time and you can have a discussion and more citizen input after you have some facts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wanted to make a comment on agenda items this evening? Last call? Okay, thank you. We will continue with our meeting, and next we have our consent agenda, because our discussion item is now moving to new business. So on our consent agenda this evening, we have regular meeting minutes of August 7th, 2017, special meeting minutes of August 24th, 2017, joint Village of Ortonville, Brandon Township draft special meeting minutes of August 30th, 2017, regular bills in the amount of $23,550.60. Prepays in the amount of $81,383.31. Township benefits from payroll account of $29,612.12. Trustee timesheets in the amount of $1,445.
55.
Is it?
55.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, misprint on here. Okay, that's trustee timesheets in the amount of $1,455. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda tonight? Would someone like to make, oh, you have discussion? Oh, okay. Clerk Allen would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay. All right, second call for discussion. All right, seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote. The motion is to approve the consent agenda as presented. The motion was made by Clerk Allen and supported by Trustee Marshall.
Arnold,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Carries unanimously. Our consent agenda has been approved. So next, we have unfinished business. Our unfinished business is the SEMCOG membership dues. This was presented to the board at our last meeting. Clerk Allen was not here, so I suggested we postpone it to this meeting. So that's what we did. We're bringing it back to the board to take a look at it again. Clerk Allen reviewed the past minutes and found that the township was a member of SEMCOG beginning in 1978. And it looks like we were members all the way through 2008. That's when the economy tanked and we were cutting costs, and we cut that out. SEMCOG submitted to the board the top 5 reasons for joining SEMCOG, and also a spreadsheet on the benefits of their membership.
Yeah, it's in here.
So at this-
Mine was. You don't have it. You can look at mine.
So at this point, I will either open it up for a motion or open it up for discussion.
I'd like to thank Clerk Allen for doing the background on this. You know, I see nothing on here that either A, information can't be obtained from another source, or B, that justifies us spending, what's the amount here?
$1,573.
About $1,573 for membership.
I'll let you finish.
Is that
You
it?
done?
I was just saying thank you to Candy. I'm done. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I would agree with Bob. I mean, as I read through the list, I saw, yeah, we were part of it for a long time, but the stuff that they did just didn't seem like it was anything that truly benefited us at $1,573. And I think in the past 11 years that, or not 11 years, but 9 years that I went backwards. In the 9 years that we didn't have it, we haven't missed out on it. It's not like we've said, oh darn, I wish I had SEMCOG so I could do this. So I still don't understand why we need to get it right now. What do we need to, why do we need it right now? Why do we need to spend this money? Do you have a reason for that?
I don't.
Okay.
In fact, my comment is, we tend to get a lot of the research that they do for free.
Right.
I think if they really wanted our membership, they wouldn't be so free with.
Well, then why didn't we just vote on it last time instead of prolonging it and bringing it back this
Clerk
time?
Allen wasn't here and she.
And that's
didn't-
fair, but why continue to discuss? If there's a motion, we can talk about it, but I haven't heard a motion yet, so.
I'm not making a motion to approve it.
There's no motion. I mean, it's a very good organization. If they didn't have any members, they wouldn't be able to do the good work that they do. And I think in that regard, it's a good thing if we do have the funds to support them because they do good work. So there's kind of a, yes, it would be good to do, and do we really have to have it? Not necessarily. So it's one of those tough decisions to make.
Not that tough.
I'll make a motion to not support it and not join
I don't
as
think
of
you-
this
I don't
time.
Do
think you
not
have to do
become members of SubCog.
Yes, to not become members of SubCog and
Is
not
that really
pay the
necessary?
dues.
Because we'd have to make a motion to become a member. Do you have to make a motion not to become a member? I don't think so.
Well, we can make a motion not to, or we can take no action.
Okay.
There's two different ways of.
I don't
doing this.
mind, I just would like to not see it keep coming back to us and spending time on it after
Then
tonight.
I would
So
say
I
go
would
ahead and
say,
make a
if we
motion.
take no action, you might bring it back to us again in a month.
That's fine, Dana, go ahead and make the motion.
Okay,
Bob already seconded it.
I'll make that motion to not become members of SEMCOG and not to pay the dues for the membership invoice.
Support.
Was that you, Bob?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Did anyone else have any discussion? Did you want to say anything? Okay, I have a motion by trustee DePalma, seconded by trustee Marshall, to not become members of SEMCOG and not pay dues membership, the dues membership invoice of $1,573. Correct? Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. So it's unanimous, 7-0. All right. Now we can move on to our new business, and our first item is the trail route removal. So what I wrote in the packet was, once Route C was removed from consideration as possible Iron Bell Trail route through Brandon Township, many of the residents living along Route A became concerned that Route A would be chosen as the preferred route. And that's because, from what I heard from a lot of the people on Route A, it was the next least expensive route, so they assumed that Route A would be the next one to be considered. The presenter asked to have the petition, so we were presented with a petition to remove Route A, and that was presented to the Trails Subcommittee. And the petition was reviewed in my office. I'm bringing it to the board because there were quite a few people that signed this, and I thought it was something that really needed to be addressed because we had quite a few people, and at that time, the count was less. But we reviewed it, and we found that there were a total of, and this is approximation, so we haven't spent a lot of time nitpicking this to find out exactly how many parcels, but our estimate comes to 249. We haven't looked at current splits, so we just counted them. We haven't done extensive research on this. Also, with the people signing the petition, we haven't done extensive research on that either. But at that time, we approximated 64 parcels signed the petition, but now, as of today, we had more people signing, and we're up to 143 parcels that are being represented. But that is not a set-in-stone number. It could be a couple more either way. There was a total of 218, is what I was told earlier today, that signed, but now it's 222. And so the reason that we looked at parcels is because we can count parcels. I know there's a lot more signatures that were presented, but we don't know how many registered voters there are along a particular route to actually make a comparison of, how many voters out of how many possible voters. But we can count parcels, and that's the only reason it was presented that way to you. Let's see. So on June 5th, the board discussed choosing a particular trail route, and the feeling was by many of the members that more information was wanted before making another decision. The Trails Subcommittee is compiling information for the board, and their goal is to have all that information to the board a couple of weeks before October 5th, which is mid-September. So I'm presenting this to the board, and the question is to remove Route A. Did you have something to say? Oh. Okay, the clerk is offering to get the number of registered voters along Route A. So that's another thing. We can compare to registered voters, but a lot of people that sign the petition may not even be a registered voter. The reason I'm bringing that up is
I don't care, Kathy.
I know. The reason I'm bringing it up is there's a lot of ways to present it, but what the main concept is we had a lot of residents out there that don't want Route A, and so that's why it's being presented to the board.
When our residents call 911, please don't ask back, why are you a registered voter? It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Well, if there's certain other things that we do as a township that takes petitions, and there's certain ways to do petitions.
Well, to be clear, Route C was removed for safety issues. There was no petition ever. Nobody ever signed a petition. It was based on visits by the board members and their vote here on the dais.
That's what I wanted to ask, if
but-
route.
Yeah, let me finish.
Yep.
This business, I do know how it was tried to play out on Route C too, because I got this huge list of all these parcels. And what ends up happening is, even though we know what side of the road it was on for the ITC corridor, we still included for, comparing how many signatures we needed, this was from the supervisor's office, the other side of the road. And it didn't affect the people on the other side of the road at all. And I think that's the same thing that's happening with you, Rick, and whoever's involved, is that, it goes up and down both sides of a lot of roads here, and so that's why we're coming up with this 249 parcels that are affected. But essentially, until a route is chosen, we don't really know how many exact parcels are going to be directly affected. I don't think anybody complained about somebody walking on the other side of the road. It's just like walking on the road itself. So I don't believe that can be an issue. But I think it definitely is an issue for the people whose land is affected, who actually touches their property. So that's my opinion. I think that's why we're getting this, you know, we have to have this crazy number because we're counting both sides of the road. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my question that I wanted to, why was Route C was taken off? Not because we had more than 50% of the people on Route C against it. Route C was taken off and presented for us to be taken off due to safety.
It was-
Is that
It
correct?
was purely say, we never just put a petition out there.
Okay, I just want to make sure, that's what I had recall, and I just wanted to make sure of that. I just wanted to mention that the flyers that went in the mailboxes were flyers for the route, and my issue with the misinformation was it said it was almost entirely funded by grants, and we haven't found that to be true. And again, I won't know until it's presented to me, and that's why I'd like the Trail Subcommittee to do its due diligence so I can have all of the answers and be fair to all of the residents along any route or who wants it of, okay, this is how much is funded, this is how much we have to come up with. Okay, can we truly come up with that amount? And then it also said that it was going to be maintained by the biking committees and trail committees. Well, I don't know that for sure to be true either, and I know that part of that cost of maintaining it would be part of the township. And again, I want that due diligence done of where's that money going to truly come from, and that's why I voted no to remove Route C, because I wanted to be fair to the whole township and get all of our answers and do our due diligence. And that's why those were the two facts when it was mentioned during citizens' comments of the misinformation, and I just wanted to make it clear what it was, why I was questioning it. So I do have a question, is because it's mentioned in here that the subcommittee's getting it to us. Do you have final dates of when the subcommittee's getting it to us, when they are presenting it to us, when and where we're meeting? All that, has that all been finalized?
Some of it has been finalized, but not all of it. I still don't have a location. We're meeting October 5th. And the subcommittee will be giving you a presentation, probably a PowerPoint presentation.
On the 5th or ahead of time?
On the 5th, but that presentation will be submitted to you ahead of time. So you'll see the presentation before it is actually presented to you. And along with all of the other supplemental information, there's going to be a lot of information, too much information to go over all of it at a meeting. So it will be coming to you within 2 weeks of October 5th.
I feel, and I'm not sure how the rest of the board feels, but I feel that presentation and all of it should be made public and given to us publicly and not just sent to us and then we just discuss it at a meeting. I feel that we should have a presentation, and it maybe shouldn't happen the night of the meeting, but there should be a meeting for the presentation. Everybody gets to see everything that we're given, not just, okay, here's your stuff, and then at the meeting. I mean, I think there should be a presentation with everything flat out given, public invited, and then we have the couple weeks, and then we meet back on October 5th. And I feel that it needs to be that one meeting when people were out in the hallway and there wasn't enough room. It needs to be somewhere big enough. And if we have a date and you don't have a place and you can't get a big enough place, then maybe we need to make sure we can get a big enough place. And does the date need to change? Because we've been talking about October 5th for a while now, and you still haven't gotten a place. And I mentioned doing it at the PAC. The school might have just started, but the administrative office has been there all summer. So are you going to be able to get a big enough place to hold everybody?
I'm hoping to get a big enough place, Dana.
Okay, well, we've been talking about this date and it hasn't happened yet.
Katie, I know you're going to try your best to get a place, but we can't have what happened 2 months ago
Yeah,
with people
I can't do
standing
that.
out in the hallway. And
No,
that's not
the
gonna work.
library is
The library's not.
reserved as a backup.
The library is not big enough.
Yeah, it really depends, because I would really think, at least I would encourage, regardless of how we make the decision, it's my opinion that if it's not good for your home, that it's not good enough for your neighbor's home. And I don't like to see so much of this screw the other guy kind of talk. And I think people should stand up and band together, really. If you take all those numbers compared to the pro-trail people, it's a huge difference, and we're getting bogged down by a few vocal people, and I think it just needs to be fair.
Okay, so there would be a problem in doing a presentation, I think, 2 weeks before the meeting, in that we won't have all of our subcommittee. What we could do is make the findings of the subcommittee, and Terry and Chris can chime in on this, but we could probably put them on the website so that anyone interested could look through
Here's
them.
what I think. If the subcommittee members aren't there, it's just like a board member. If you're not there, there's somebody else that'll pick up the pieces and give you the information. If they're not gonna be there in
So-
2 weeks, then too bad for the subcommittee members that can't make it. Give their piece of information to someone else and make sure it's presented adequately.
Well,
Yeah, I'm kind of confused. I don't know what we're talking about now.
well, Dana
Having a meeting
asked,
2 weeks before
I asked-
October 5th.
I asked for the
okay.
subcommittee, for the presentation to be given to us instead of not
Okay.
just emailed to us where we're on our own. I think it
gotcha.
should be publicly given.
So if you have a
That's
question, you can ask
that's
it.
just my opinion, but there's 7 of us,
but
so.
if, are you gonna be able to ask questions as soon as it's given to you? Don't you need time to review it?
But I still think it should be presented to the whole public, not just us. We're supposed to be doing everything openly for the public.
It needs to be
That's true.
transparent.
It needs
It's
to be
true.
transparent. That is my point.
Well, that's fair. I don't see any issue once you email or however you're gonna give us this PowerPoint presentation, there's no reason we can't put that online as well.
But don't you think we should have a meeting for the public to come to see it?
I don't know.
Oh, that's just, but. Because then my questions, and that's why a lot of times, I know you guys ask us to come prepared to the meeting, but sometimes I do ask my questions ahead of time so people can be prepared. But then I ask them again at the meeting so the public knows that, oh yeah, because I was thinking of that and no one asked that. I ask the question again, just so that way the public knows that we're actually thinking, we're not just boom, 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 that we're actually doing our research and asking questions. And I think if you just do this presentation, you send it to me, and then I email someone from the subcommittee my questions, and I get my answers back, is that transparent to the public then? Did they hear my questions? Did they hear my answers
Well,
for when I go to make my
When you
decision?
go to make your decision, that's when you would say what your question was and what your answers were to influence your decision, I would think, because you wouldn't be able to do that without knowing your question.
That could be a lot. I just think that, but again, I'm one person, so everybody else can talk.
All right.
Are all 7 members of the subcommittee, I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Well,
Okay, go ahead.
can we get other input, and then we'll do
Sure.
another
Sure.
round? Okay.
Yeah.
Clerk Allen had a question. Trustee Cordella and Treasurer Darnell, what will the trail be for? Bikes, horses, or walkers?
I was told that if it's part of the Iron Bell Trail segment, it would be a biking trail, as the Iron Bell Trail on the east side of the state is biking. On the west side of the state is hiking.
But that's not the total use of the trail. It's considered a bike trail on the east side of the state, but what we're looking at is a multi-use, non-motorized trail.
Okay, so if it's a multi-use, non-motorized trail and it has to be ADA compliant, any place that we have to have a boardwalk now goes from 10 feet to 14 feet in width. So our $2,650,000 per mile is now gonna be expended from 10 foot to 14 feet wide for that mile. So we're looking at a lot more money to replace, to maintain, and to get funds for upfront.
And if it is a bike, if it's used for any non-motorized, then it's not just the biking. Can it qualify for the grants even for the Iron Bell Trail? Because the Iron Bell Trail is just supposed to be for biking, so I
No,
thought it
no,
was
no, no,
just
no.
those grants. So, well,
The Iron Bell
again, the misinformation.
Okay, the Iron Bell Trail has to include biking. It doesn't have to be limited to only biking. It just has to include biking.
That's not what I heard, but.
That's not what I heard either.
Chris, what did you hear?
I,
And I think maybe this needs to be clarified at our
Yes.
I would think
subcommittee.
so.
Yeah.
that was
I mean,
exactly,
so-
that was exactly my point, and I spoke with Paul Barber, who's on the subcommittee, and all you people from Route A know Paul. but the bottom line is, me and him both discussed it, and we both said, you know, is this a biking and hiking trail, or is this just a biking trail? And we both had that question. I asked him to please write an email earlier this week I'm sorry, later last week, I should say, to the
Kristen?
powers that be, and basically ask them, what is this trail? Let's get down to the bottom of it, because him and me were both confused by some of the stuff that was in the preliminary presentation that Jennifer Bickle was putting together. Because we were confused with the slides, and one said a hiking and one said a biking, and it was like, okay, well, what's ours? Is it a hiking and a biking? Is it what, you know? And I said, you know what, I agree with you. I'm confused now too with these slides. I said, I'm confused also with a lot of the verbiage. I said, please ask the question to somebody. Obviously, that hasn't happened.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so yes, we do need clarification on it. Answer your question.
most definitely
Yeah.
need clarification, but in remembering the survey that went out before, I believe it included multi-use. So-
I could agree with that.
All
but-
I know is October is coming and we have to let county know, and I don't think we have the answers that we need to go
Like-
forward with this without the basic questions answered.
Well, yeah, and the survey said it was for all those uses, and if it turns out that you can't get the grants because it's for more than just biking, then that's gonna be a problem. And the survey then isn't accurate. And again, I mean, what is the true percentage of how many people in the township want it and how many don't want it? I don't think we ever got a true fair percentage, with those survey results and stuff.
Yeah, those are supposed to be through the 12th.
Right, we're doing more, right?
Well, yeah, you're
But
talking about
again,
the
that's not
earlier-
that's like my husband and I can't vote on it. We get one per our parcel. Is that truly fair? We go to the polls and I vote and he votes, and we might not always vote for, maybe he didn't vote for me. I don't know, but. So, I mean, it's not fair that him and I both can't, you know, not that I would write in anything about the trail because I'm here, but,
Well, it's-
say
it's
care,
kind of-
you know, you and your husband both might not agree on it, and you might, but again, you guys both can't put in your letter, so I am talking to the board, say this person, this resident, if her and her husband don't agree, they both can't write their email then. I don't think that's truly fair.
Okay, did everybody get a chance
No.
to chime in for the first time?
No.
Okay.
And Cheryl, I will be looking at the supervisor because we have to have this discussion amongst ourselves.
Yes.
But please be aware, this is answering your question from earlier. I have multiple pieces of, multiple parcels of property. I am the sole voter at that address, as far as I know. And therefore, I have multiple votes on the survey that's being done through the Trail Committee.
Oh, you
Because I was told that each parcel of
Yeah,
property,
he's got
I
it on
have a
record.
vote on whether it's permitted or what my decision is on the trails. So, there goes again. Is there a lack of consistency here? I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes, there
Because
is.
I am the sole voter at the property, however, I have multiple parcels of property, and I was able to cast a vote for each parcel of property that I own.
But then my
So-
husband and I both can't do it.
So, anyway, that was the first one that I wanted to address Cheryl
That's,
about as I looked at you.
that's a good question, Bob, as I look back at you, because the discussion of the trail subcommittee was one vote per parcel. But we didn't talk about multiple parcels, so if they start taking it that way, then that's the way it should be.
They took my votes.
Okay.
So anyway, the second part is, maybe it's a result of my former career, but this is what I find so debilitating about decisions by committee. Nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. You hash it over, you hash it over, you hash it over, you ask for more information. I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm no brain surgeon, but it didn't take me a year to figure out this is not a good deal for the township. I don't need all this input from the committee. I don't need all this input from this person and that person and somebody else. I can make my own decision. That's why I pushed this to new business. So maybe we can make a decision on this as well tonight. And I know people don't want to do that. I know people want to play the game and, well, you know, we have to look for all the information. I have all the information I need. I don't need to keep getting more information just to reaffirm what I already think about this trail idea, which is it's a no-go as far as I'm concerned. I ran on the idea, public safety, police, fire, EMS. This does not improve any of them, and if anything, it actually impacts negatively on all of them. So for that reason, and I've been very upfront about this right from the very start, I am opposed to these trails. I see no good coming from these trails. And the last point I'd like to make, we're asking this committee to make a presentation to us. And I am willing to, and of course it's going to have to be voluntary, we can't mandate, I would like to see a written rationale from every board member supporting why they voted the way they did. And making that public so people can see the reasons that you made the decision you did. I think people are entitled to that. Something to think about. I'm done.
Okay. Scott, did you get your, Chris? Well, Chris,
I thought that the board agreed to form a subcommittee and to have the subcommittee put together for one time all the information for all people, for all times, for all men, for everywhere, for everything. And that was voted on by the board. That was okayed by the board. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay? There was a lot of unanswered questions. Even today, there's two that are unanswered that have now popped up. We will get answers to those questions, which are very important questions, and we will be able to report out on them. And I think that's important, that the board knows what they're voting on. And I think that the board was right in saying, yeah, subcommittee, go do your thing, and give us as much information as you can, and we'll go from there. That was the reason for the subcommittee.
okay. Scott, did you have
Yes.
something more to say?
And I agree with Chris. I think I certainly can wait one more month after, as long as we've gone on this. We might as well have all the information before we make a decision. But I just want to make sure that I know that somebody's putting together a PowerPoint presentation, and this is based on rumors only. And I want to say this is only based on rumors I've heard. But it seems to me like there's been quite a bit of, I'm hearing there's quite a bit of control in how this is going to be presented to the board. And maybe it's not the opinion of all 7 members of the subcommittee. I have a problem with that. We need to have the facts and not just what the 4 people who want a trail want to show us. Okay?
So you're suggesting dissenting votes also?
No, I'm just suggesting I want all the information
Right.
and not just controlled pieces that's going to be in a pretty PowerPoint to try to sell the public on, why we should vote for this. I want the facts. And it seems to me, and I don't know, but it's kind of troubling. It seems to me we've still gone another 2 or 3 months since the subcommittee is formed, and I'm not even sure anybody even knows what the trail is going to be made out of. If it's going to be asphalt or crushed limestone, and that's really troubling. I just, it's frustrating.
Because we don't know where the trail's gonna be.
Okay.
And I agree with what Scott just said. I want the true facts. I don't want it to be one-sided pro trail, one-sided for trail. I want it to be just the facts presented fairly to us.
Well, let me say
has
this,
to be.
okay? Everyone on the subcommittee, whether you're pro or against trails, is going to be able to look at every response that is given by anybody that is going to be presented to the board. And they will have the opportunity to dispute that information. They will have the opportunity to say, Paul Barber, Terry Darnell, and the people that are super anti-trails, okay, will have the opportunity to say, no, that doesn't fly, that isn't correct, so on and so forth, okay? So, I mean,
That's why
they
we
will
need
have input,
But if
okay?
you
And it's
just-
not gonna be one-sided.
Hold on, but Chris, and that was my whole point of, if you just send me that information, I don't know if it's one-sided or not. We should have the subcommittee there, we should all be there, it should be presented, so if Terry doesn't agree with something, or if Kathy doesn't agree with something that's presented to us, they can tell us
Well, they're-
that. So
the-
I think that's why I
We're
think
already going to have the opportunity to give input
they,
by the 8th. Is that what we agreed to, Terry?
I thought it was the 12th.
The 8th.
I'm sorry. Is it the 12th? Whatever. When do we have to get back with Candace on her spreadsheet with all the questions and all the answers?
By the 8th. We were supposed to find answers by the 8th. They're going to compile them on a spreadsheet. Then on the 11th, we're going to work on summaries.
Okay, and then when are people going to be able to dispute the facts? When were the subcommittee
Well,
members going to be
then-
able to say?
Well, I
That's
think
what I'm confused
on the
with now.
11th is when we're going to have those discussions amongst the subcommittee regarding what the facts are telling us.
right, but if there's, okay, so there's 7 on the subcommittee. If, I feel that if there's still not concrete answers, and some are feeling it's this and some are feeling it's that, then it needs to be presented to us like that, and that's why I think it needs to be done in public, when that is given to us, so we know, okay, yes, these 3 are saying it's this, but these 4 are saying it's this, and that's why these 4 were presented, but, they're still not sure, it's not a definite answer, there's still hearsay, some think it's this, some think it's that. That's why I said I think it should be done, transparency, out in front of the public, the presentation to us, the subcommittee there, for us to ask questions and find out, making sure it was all presented. It wasn't just, again, well, we think this, and since 4 of us think this and 3 of us think that, we're going to go with the 4.
And that goes back to what I was saying. I would like to hear the dissenting opinion on the committee presented as well.
Well, and that's why I thought we should do it in public, but.
Okay. We'll take those
I mean,
requests back to the subcommittee, but,
And I'd hate to keep wasting, taxpayers' time, but this is an important subject to make a decision on.
It is.
And
And knowing full well where this is going to go, I want to make a motion to take Route A off consideration for the trails.
as an Iron Bell Trail route.
Yes.
Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Darnell, by trustee Marshall, seconded by treasurer Darnell, to take Route A off consideration as an Iron Bell Trail route, correct?
Correct.
Great, is there any other discussion on this? Okay, I too agree with what Chris said. I believe we, and what Dana said, I voted against taking Route C off as well because I thought everything needed to be considered. The subcommittee needs to do their job. It all needs to be presented. And then from that point, we make decisions. Now, personally, I don't think Route A is the best route. And I don't think the other 2 routes that are still there, those probably aren't good either. But I think the subcommittee needs to look at all potential routes before, or not the subcommittee, but the township, because the subcommittee is working on presenting information to the board so we can make a decision on, do we want a trail route through the township or not? We aren't going to suggest one specific route to the board.
You're not?
No.
No,
That's the key, yeah.
No, they were going to,
no.
they were going to present about the routes, though. Like, some of the
Yes.
facts are going to be
So
about
that-
each route.
That's correct.
And then we have to decide, do we
Do we want a trail?
do we
or not?
want a trail? And then that's all the state wants to know is, do we want a trail? And then if we say yes, then at that point, we could go about picking a trail. They just want to know we want a trail.
And that's why I say, hey, if you have this many people opposed to it and it's in their backyard, you're gonna meet so much resistance that even if it did go and you went, yep, that's the one we want, you're not gonna get the easements. End of story. So why waste your time?
I agree with that, but I said no to C until everything was finalized, and I did my due diligence on everything, and so and we didn't do on C, I don't know what the numbers were, and so,
They didn't have one.
right,
Just
I
went and
know.
looked at
And it
safety.
was, right, and I mean, and I went and looked at that, and I agreed with it, but as I said, I want to see everything, and, I'm not going to do that to, vote different, so right now, I'm going to say no, it's in a month, and we'll have our due diligence, hopefully, to make a decision.
So can I ask, just as a general question for this October 5th meeting, we're not even going to be discussing costs at this meeting either?
Oh, yes,
We
well,
better be.
Well, how can we, yeah, okay,
Would be like a lot of cost.
Without a trail.
right.
But is it going to be cost per trail we're discussing? Or is it just,
We don't have a trail.
I believe it's gonna be
but it was going to be
presented,
cost per trail? I thought it was gonna be.
it'll probably be presented in multiple ways. Costs per trails that have already been brought to our attention and costs per type of trail.
Okay.
But we plan on having a long meeting on the 11th because we have a lot of work
I
to
guess
do.
so.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, I hate to have the subcommittee waste time that they've already spent, so that's why I figured let them finish their job and
They've
see
spent a
what's.
lot of time.
There's been a lot of time.
Well, if you
Their
remove,
job and
if you
see.
remove Route A from the possible trail possibilities, it'll reduce their time of working on that trail. It'll minimize their work by 1/3.
Not
And then the next,
necessarily.
and then the next route will come in, and then the next route will come in, and then the next route will come
Yeah,
in. As I
that's-
said,
that's
get
the
all
thing.
your
The
answers,
other
and then you
routes
do it.
Are equally as bad, if not worse.
Okay, is there any more discussion? All right, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, seconded by treasurer Darnell, to take Route A off consideration as an Iron Bell Trail route. Correct? Okay, we'll do a roll call, please,
Cordella?
to take Route A off.
No.
Marshall?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnell?
Yes.
De Palma?
No.
Thurman?
No. So the motion carries 4-3. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. So Route A has been taken off.
So you guys
From
can sleep in peace
consideration.
tonight.
Okay, at this point, we will move to our next item, and that is the fire department painting painting exterior of Fire Station 1.
I'll make that motion to approve the repainting of the exterior of Station 1 by GKS Painting for the amount not to exceed $10,000 from line item 205-265-975.100. We talked about this at our last
Wait,
meeting.
Candy wants something here.
Oh, sure.
Oh, you're second. Oh, I'm sorry. I
You
thought-
second it? Okay.
Okay.
Like, we talked about this at the last meeting, so that's just we talked about doing it.
I wasn't sure what
but
your
we couldn't
pantomime
vote on
was.
it, 'cause it wasn't on the agenda.
So did you get second?
Yes, Candy seconded it.
Candy
Candy
seconded.
used her sign language.
And I wasn't watching, so I was reading.
Smack her.
So she'll have to throw that in front of my face so I can see it. Okay, I have a motion by trustee DePalma, seconded by clerk Allen, to approve the repainting of the exterior of Station Number 1 by GKS Painting for the amount not to exceed $10,000 from line item 205-265-975-100. Is there any discussion? Just so everyone knows, we did discuss this at our joint meeting with the village, so we probably won't be having too many questions about this, but the Fire Station 1 is in need of repainting. So we have estimates in front of us. Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. The next item is a joint, well, it's a Facebook page. What had happened was at our last meeting, I brought this concept to the attention of the Township Board, was to create a Township Facebook page, have it be a joint Facebook page with the village, and have OTV more or less manage the page and create the page. And because of the change in managers at the village, I don't think the village has had an opportunity to discuss whether or not they want to do that with us. But I thought we could make the first step and decide if the township wants to do this. Everyone seemed to be pretty favorable to it, so I brought it back to the township board to make a decision.
Who's going to curate the comments?
This is going to be a read-only,
Good.
You only.
Secondly,
read-only.
as far, I think it's great to be able to have another way to show our residents what events are coming up.
You only.
Right. What about, I mean, there's no secret, you want a trail coming through. Are we gonna use this as promoting positions on things as well?
No, this.
Okay.
this
I think
would
it's great,
be
just for announcements for,
information.
good.
So what's the difference between this
It's
and our
not-
webpage?
It's just a different avenue for
Not a
people to
whole
go
lot.
to, because not everybody goes to the
I
webpage.
think, no, people will go to
Some
Facebook a lot more
Facebook.
frequently than they will to our homepage.
Yeah, you could have a link
Definitely
there
good
to
thing.
our homepage then, so if they
Yes.
want to get more information or go look at ordinances, you know, you could make a, here's the link to our ordinance through Facebook, and, you know, there's different things you can do with it, and as long as it's comment only, or not comment, view only, I think it's a great idea.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second you. And I guess if the village doesn't do it, I would say we just do our own
Yes.
if we're inviting them. But if they don't want to do it, I'd still say let's do it.
And you're making a motion, Scott, that's presented?
Yes,
That's
that's fine.
presented?
Yep.
Okay.
What if they don't do it because it says as a joint project? Do we want
It says in
I don't need to
the
change it.
village.
to
or
participate as a joint project?
Yes.
Okay. So if
So
it would
don't
be on
join
our own,
us,
it's
on
on
our
their
own.
own. Okay, I'll second that.
Is there any discussion down on this end? Okay. I have a motion by trustee Broughton, seconded by trustee DePalma, to allow the OTV staff to create and maintain a Brandon Township view-only Facebook page and invite the village of Ortonville to participate as a joint project. Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I have one, okay? And I brought this up before, my displeasure with Facebook and Twitter. I was hacked into not only once, but twice after I opened my Facebook account up. And the bottom line is I'm still getting spam because of getting on Facebook, which I was against for years, but I was talked into by friends, okay? Having said that, what kind of security? I mean, the owner, Zuckerberg, months ago, came out and said, "You're right. This is not a secure site. Let me hire 9,000 software engineers." He made an announcement to take care of making sure that erroneous things, false things, bad things didn't get on Facebook. Okay. Now we haven't heard anything since he made that big announcement, that big splash, okay, about Facebook and about it being not secure site, being that people can hack into it, people can hack into people's accounts through Facebook, people hacked into my email account through it. What kind of security are we gonna have? I guess is my question.
First of all, I think we're doing view only, and
Well, you asked for discussion.
I know.
I just gave you some.
I know. But I think if someone were to hack into it, we could take it down, couldn't we?
You can take it down.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's gonna they can't get into our system. All they can do is, and we're not gonna have people like the page and they're already on Facebook, so it's not like the people who are gonna like your Facebook page are already on Facebook, so if someone likes our township page, the people who like that page to start getting the notifications, it's not like we're gonna be having their contact information because we're just view only, we'll have them, but they're already out there anyways, so I just don't see how, and it's not like they can get into our system from it.
Okay, I have a question, because I'm a Facebook, I have no idea. Have we had any problem with rec? Because they have a
No.
Facebook page, right?
Mhm.
Have we had any problems with rec?
No.
And they actually have, I don't know if they have theirs I can't remember if it's where you can make
No,
comments.
you can.
You can make comments, but they monitor it, and you can message too, where you can just send a message to say, hey, our game's canceled tonight because it's storming and lightning out there.
It's
So,
very helpful.
it's
The
very
hacking
helpful.
concern is a
Yeah.
concern if we were posting financials
Shows,
or
correct.
we're just putting calendar out there is really what we're doing. We're just saying, here's a list of our events. I don't see any issue as far as security. We're not giving them links to anything at the township. It's just another
Well, if you give them a
informational
link
page.
to our website, you could,
But
but
that's-
they can find it
it's already
anyways.
out there.
They're already gonna
Right.
go to our website. It's already out there.
it's no
Everything you're
secret.
gonna give them, they can already get by going to our website.
That's fine.
Okay, is that good enough answer for you, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, did anyone else have any concerns? Alrighty.
I don't want it.
All right, again, I have a motion by trustee Broughton, seconded by trustee DePalma, to allow the OTV staff to create and maintain a Brandon Township view-only Facebook page and invite the Village of Ortonville to participate as a joint project. And if there's no further discussion, everyone in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. So the motion is approved unanimously. And that brings us to our next item of business, which is the cable allocations. So every year I do this, I take the, I go to the treasurer's office and they tell me, they give me a, I don't-
An Excel spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet
Mhm.
of what we collected in franchise fees and interest, and what the village has sent to us for cable franchise fees. And I take the period between 7/1/16 and 6/30/17 for this one, and I add up all the revenues and the interest, total it up, figure out what percentage is contributed by the village, what percentage is contributed by the township. I add in the interest, and then I do the cable budget and find out how much they're looking to spend next year. Now I've been just taking 90% of that budget, so because we've been collecting a lot more money in this fund as a carry forward than we really need. Originally, we said we'd like to keep a fund balance of about $100,000 into the cable account, and right now we have $320,400. So I'm sending a little bit more back to the village and a little bit more back to the township. So,
I looked at all the numbers. The only question I have is why are we doing this mid-year versus the end of year? That's the only, I don't know why we're doing it that way.
because we need to budget, we need to put this in our budget. And we do our budget in the fall. And if I wait till the end of the year, I won't have the numbers to use. So I've just been consecutively doing it taking the numbers mid-year.
Okay.
So this is for the 17,
This is for the
I mean,
2018
18
budget.
budget.
The only comment I have is for Lieutenant Glover. Lieutenant Glover, I think your substation is getting cheated on cable because you're only getting $200 and fire department's getting $2,500. I think they have a lot of premium stations over there that you're not getting. Just, something to look into for you.
Got 4 buildings too.
They get a real good deal.
Black and white, 18-inch screen.
All right, did anybody else have any questions? Basically, the budget, we're going to approve at the end of the year with all of our budgets. But I did, and I talked to Greg Normand about what he was looking to spend for next year, so I sent this to him and he said, looks good.
You know, he started doing something that maybe I could just throw in while we're talking about cable. People out in the audience, and hopefully maybe even we could put it in the paper. We have a YouTube channel for OTV, which is Ortonville Television. And Greg has started to do a lot of interviews with local businesses and, you know, parks and rec and sports teams, et cetera. And it's worth taking a look, especially if you're wondering about something. For instance, what is the Skeleton Key Company? He does an interview with them, goes to their place. It's all on video. It's worth checking out. So
I didn't know that. That'd be something good for Facebook page.
just search for OTV Ortonville
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
YouTube.
You could make those references to Facebook and,
Yes.
Yeah.
and they'll put the links
Yeah.
on.
Direct
Yeah.
link to OTV.
OTV's doing it, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
They can put up all their, yep. Okay, I'll make the suggested motion to approve the transfer of $81,559.69 of cable franchise fees from Brandon Township Cable Saving Fund 705-748-999-101 to the Charter Township of Brandon's General Fund 101-000-980-705 in 2018, and to remit $9,649.98 of cable franchise fees from Brandon Township Cable Savings Fund 705-748-999-102 to the Village of Ortonville in 2018.
Okay, would someone like to second that motion?
Sure. Oh, go ahead. No, I'll let you. No, listen. Ladies first.
All right, we'll go with the clerk. All righty, any other discussion on this? Okay, I have a motion by trustee DePalma, seconded by clerk Allen, to approve the transfer of $81,559.69 of cable franchise fees from Brandon Township Cable Savings Fund 705-748-999-101 to the Charter Township of Brandon's General Fund 101-000-980-705 in 2018, and to remit $9,649.98 of cable franchise fees from Brandon Township Cable Savings Fund 705-748-999-102 to the Village of Ortonville in 2018. It's a mouthful. All right, seeing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnell,
yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes?
Thurman.
Yes. Okay, motion carries unanimously. And that brings us to our last item, and that is presented by Clerk Allen. The Edna Burton Senior Center Coordinator informed her that someone donated an HP Pavilion Touch Smart 23 all-in-one computer to the Senior Center. Volunteer Linda Person went through the computer and cleaned it out to install Annette's programs from the old computer. So she is looking to make a motion to accept the donation.
I'll
Is there any
second
dis-
that motion. That was very nice of the resident. Thank you to whoever it was.
Yeah.
Or individual if it wasn't a resident, but whoever it
Very
was,
nice.
thank you.
Okay. I agree. I think it's a great thing. Did anyone else have anything to say?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Was this a donation through the auxiliary club, do we know? It was straight away
know.
to, you don't know? Don't you think we should find that out first?
Why? Does that
Kathy,
make a difference?
Yes.
Well, it does. Here's why. I think it's great, and thank you to whoever donated it, but you gotta be really careful about when you're taking a used computer from someplace that you're not sure where it came from. I'm an IT person, and I would not guarantee the safe use of that thing until it was actually reformatted, so.
Well, that's what I
it's
think
just-
that person did. They,
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying I need to throw it out there. So, I mean, again, I don't mean to give a horse in the mouth, thank you very much, but we've got to be real careful when you accept used computer equipment. Not only that, but if there's also licensed programs on there other than the operating system, those are licensed to the previous user and not to whoever you sell it to. The operating system goes with the computer, but not necessarily all the additional software that's on it. So it's just things to consider. I think, again, thank you, but be careful.
Okay. The clerk wanted to say the coordinator didn't know where it came in. I do know that the senior center gets used computer equipment all the time, correct? So would it have been something that someone just brought in?
It's new.
It was new. It's a new,
Wow.
it's a new piece of
Oh,
equipment.
that's a
Wow.
whole different story. If it's brand new, then I have no issues.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that's safe.
but then if it was new, then why would they have to go through and clean it to,
Exactly.
Don't know.
but maybe it just meant they went in and installed the new programs? I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, I
But-
don't know what the cleaning out
Right.
before, but.
That's interesting.
And this might not be used by the seniors per se, but by somebody that's actually working there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I know, for instance, my mom's a senior, and I've got her going very well on her email and writing Word documents, and actually quite a bit, but to all of a sudden throw a touch screen at her, it would throw everything into a loop, so, but if this is for one of the employees, then fine. If it really was a new computer, then that's great.
The coordinator, there's still stickers on the computer? And the coordinator has 4 new computers? No,
Speak up, Candy.
That means write bigger, so we can hear you.
I didn't mean to blow this out of proportion. I say yes, I'm good.
it's for the coordinator to use,
Okay.
the new computer. Okay. All right, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, seconded by Trustee DePalma, to accept the donation of the HP Pavilion Touch Smart 23 all-in-one computer to be used in the Edna Burton Senior Center Coordinator's Office.
As long as it was donated to the senior center and not to the auxiliary club. That's my question.
And
They're 2 separate entities.
she will need the correct software on it, and that's probably what Linda helped install.
That's what it says.
Yeah, to install nuts programs. So you should transfer them from one computer to the other, all right.
Okay, anything donated or purchased by the auxiliary becomes township property.
Okay. Because the senior center's our property, so,
It's in their bylaws.
okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right, again, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, seconded by Trustee DePalma, to accept the donation of the HP Pavilion Touch Smart 23 all-in-one computer to be used in the Edna Burton Senior Center Coordinator's Office. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. And the vote is unanimous to approve the motion as presented. All right, that concludes our business for this evening. At this time, we will take citizens' comments, and that would be 3 minutes per person. Yes, ma'am.
Shannon Johns, Johns, 1745 Hummer Lake Road. Hi. I was trying so hard not to come up here tonight. I was just going to sit and listen and be fine. And as happy as I am to see Route A come off, the whole consideration thing, there's a couple things I would like to point out. One, Scott, what you said was incorrect. Whether that trail is in my front yard or across the street from my house, it does impact me and it does make a difference. Two, when you have a parcel of land, there's two people's name on that. If you're married, my husband and my name are both on my land. We should both get a say. We are both responsible for it. We both have to pay the taxes for it. We both have to deal with the increase in the insurance over it. So it really should be up to anybody who can vote who lives in that house or who is responsible for that property in that house, whether it's just one person or two. And three, the fact that this has been going on this long over the trail and there was debate up here tonight over what this trail is to even be used for is quite honestly appalling. I mean, we don't know if it's a bike trail, if it's a hiking trail. Can you skateboard on it? How about rollerblading? Horses? Snowmobiles? Well, no, they're motorized. We can't have somewhere. It's dog racing, dog sleds.
sled.
Well, I mean, come on. But I mean, this are things that we know because this is going to impact people. I did contact my insurance company and I did ask them what was going to be the repercussions of a trail in my yard, which thankfully, hopefully now it won't be. But I mean, and it makes a difference. Your liability makes a huge difference. It impacts your insurance costs. It impacts your property value. It impacts your taxes. So to even be considering doing this trail without any hard numbers. And as long as this has been going on, there should be a trail picked. There should be hard numbers. The taxpayers should know exactly how this is going to impact them. Not 5 minutes before y'all go to vote. I mean, we should know, because whether you put that trail in my yard or somebody else's yard, tax-wise, I still have to pay. I mean, there's only so many of us that are going to have to pay for this. And wherever you put it, I'm going to have to pay. And you have no idea how much it's going to cost. Even if you get your numbers from your subcommittee, which, in all honesty, should have been in place long before 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I mean, that should have been the first thing you did before anything else. As soon as you thought to yourself, yeah, you know what, maybe we should do this. That should be there. To just call up the Iron Bell and say, yeah, you know what, we're going to do this. We have no idea how much it's going to cost or how it's going to impact our citizens is like just opening everybody's checkbook for an undisclosed amount of money. I mean, I personally believe I have a right to every scrap of information you get on that subcommittee. I want to know how much every brick that you put down, or if you even use bricks. We don't even know what we're making a trail out of. At this point, it just seems foolish and fiscally irresponsible to go forward.
Yeah,
We don't
30
have.
seconds to go.
I know. I'm good. I got it. But yeah, thank you for taking the A off. You're right.
The board, not me.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Heath, last name Zietz, Z-I-E-T-Z. I live on South Hadley Road. I'm trying to understand what type of community you guys are trying to build here. You've mentioned numerous times now you care about public safety. Route C was taken off because of public safety. Yet the board could not come together and come up with a gun ordinance. I have people with assault rifles in my neighborhood, yet you guys could not come up with some gun ordinance to protect my family. You had board members' houses being shot at, and yet you guys couldn't come together to come up with something. I don't understand it. Please, bring the gun ordinance back. Bring up something that's reasonable. Not 9 to 5 or whatever, but just something that makes sense. We should not have assault rifles in this neighborhood. My neighbor has 15 acres of property. I have 3 acres of property. We have 2 of the largest partials in my neighborhood. and they're shooting assault rifles. Really? Would you want to live near that? Thank you.
Heath, could you stick around for after the meeting? All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Dale Kramer. I'd like to speak about the trail. I'm glad that you guys narrowed the field. I'd like to see it narrowed even further. I'd like to see you pick a route. And quite honestly, everybody on the trustees here seem to be upset with the situation with the trail. But I think it's part in your making, because if you'd have picked a route, or maybe the board before you would have picked a route, we'd have less opposition. And I am in favor of the M15 route because it serves so many other purposes other than just the trail. And I believe I heard Kristen say that from Oakland County, who's the coordinator, that the trail could be used multi-use at a bunch of the meetings that we had here. And if people have any questions, I'm sure they could just call the DNR director. But I think the trail being down M15 is going to serve so many more citizens, not just the people that want to use the bicycle route. You're going to have the walking. You're going to have people from the subdivisions, the businesses. Everybody's going to get to use that trail, and it's not going to serve one small group of individuals. And if you narrowed the field to one route, you could get your costs together. I mean, at that point, you could get, instead of spending all the energy on others, you could get engineering, you could get cost, you could define this. And then there'd be less opposition on the board about how much it's going to be and when it's going to be. And from the citizens also, you're going to have a lot less opposition because you've got 4 or 5 trails floating around out there and everybody's in limbo. I think that, I'm glad you narrowed the field, but I think that, you could pick a route. You could ask the subcommittee for information and pick a route, any route, and then get those costs together. As far as the M15, I think you'd have a lot less maintenance, police, fire cost. It's right down M15. It serves a lot of purposes. I think that and I hope the subcommittee is going to come up with some information on each route and give you some information to make an informed decision. And as far as the gun ordinance I just heard, I'm not in favor of any gun ordinance. And I don't think a lot of the people in this community are. That was proven at the one meeting before. And I shoot every week, and I go to the gun clubs, and the sound of gunfire to me is the sound of freedom. I enjoy it. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out here who believe the same thing. Thank you.
Rick, you said you weren't coming up later.
But I got to say something real quick.
He couldn't help himself.
It's all good. It's all good. I just want to thank the women that helped me get the signatures and the board members who made a wise decision, in my opinion, on the route not being taken off. And I agree with some of what he says, Dale here, but the cost is the main thing. Do you guys want to burden the taxpayers? All I heard when I was taking these signatures up, we're ready to move out of this township because of the taxes. I mean, you would not believe how many people told me they are done with taxes in this township. And all we're going to do is increase our taxes whenever you put this bike trail in. So you're going to be driving out. That's it. See, it was
Thank you.
simple.
Anyone else want to make a comment? Yes, ma'am.
Cheryl Rohr. I just wanted to say, and I know you meant this in niceness and all, that you can sleep well tonight because it's not on your route, but actually, no. It's not going to be good sleeping until it's gone for the taxes, but not just for the taxes. I've lived here 18 years, and I walked down my street this way and down my street this way, and I met people that have lived there longer than me. And I've learned why they don't want the trail, and they talked my ear off for a long time, and it's different reasons. Yes, the financial is a problem. Some people fear safety. Some people are not, they're going to tooth and nail, they're going to fight you on easements. There's no way you're going to take someone's property so that someone can, cheer you down the road on their bike or walk or whatever. And it's like, we keep going back to this. You keep saying we need the cost. Tell me, I understand trying to do due diligence, but 1 month, the costs are going to change again and again and again, and you still don't have a route. What are you going to get a cost for? Okay, this route if we do asphalt, this route if we do rock, this route if we do trail bikes and walking, and then this cost for asphalt with walking, but not this and with that. You really think they're going to get you those costs in a month? They haven't gotten them in all this time. And again, since the costs are the problem, and nobody wants their taxes raised because they're already exorbitant, what does it matter? If it costs more than what it currently is, it's going to be a no. So it kind of is like a no-brainer. And I do agree with Scott. I'm not willing to throw my other community residents under the bus just because I got my route off. This has never been about getting my route off. We just figured if we chip away at you guys, you'll eventually get the picture. So it's like,
All right, thank you. Did anyone else want to make a comment this evening? You're usually good for something, for a comment, Kara.
I think we've had enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, sir. Come on up. Just kidding.
Robert Mikawa. Okay, so we're talking about cost. Is this gonna go before the vote of the citizens of Brandon Township? Or are you just gonna raise the tax? So how's that gonna work? Cause if it goes before the vote, then you basically gotta vote on a mill. And, if you don't have it approved right now, I don't think you should go forward with this deal.
Okay, thank you, Robert. All right, last chance. Anyone else out there that would like to make a comment? Now's your opportunity. All right, seeing none, we'll take a moment to hear comments from the board. We'll start down this way if anyone wants to make a comment.
Okay, just quickly, Route C has raised a lot of route because of the way it came off, and now Route A is gonna be off as well. I just encourage all the residents of both those routes to attend the October meeting. There seems to be an affinity for taking hand counts at these meetings, and then those hand counts get reported in the paper as if it's some kind of poll on the validity of having a trail or not. And if we're gonna have these hand counts, then I want a good representation of the whole community and not just the people that ended up coming because it still might affect them. So I encourage you to tell your people to come one more meeting.
What's the date?
October 5th.
October 5th.
Okay.
But we don't know where yet.
Correct.
Correct.
No, don't know. Oh, Dana? Larry,
Um,
anybody?
I just wanted to say that I'd like to know from the subcommittee, because I thought there was reasons why the M15 Seymour Lake wasn't chosen, and then also, I don't want to take anybody's land, and that's not even going to be covered in the grant, so if we did, we'd have to pay for it ourselves, and I don't think we should be using township money to take people's land, because I don't want to take people's land, and I don't want to be spending money on that. And the gun ordinance, Heath, hopefully you can talk to the sheriff, because we might not have a gun ordinance, but that's because we have the local and the state ordinance, and you can see with him if something would fall under that. Just to let you know, there's local and state, but that's my comment.
Okay.
I want to go home.
Anyone down here have a comment? What? The clerk?
Oh, no.
The clerk. I am in favor of finishing our Brandon Township Community Park and develop the other property across the road. Anyone else down here?
Yeah, I already mentioned it once on my comments earlier. I really would encourage the board members to put into writing the rationale of why their final vote is going to be what the final vote is going to be. I think the residents have a right to know. And just to be right up front, I've already started my presentation, so whether anybody else does or not, and I understand this would be strictly voluntary on the part of the other board members, I plan on giving a full written rationale as to why I'm voting against the trails.
Okay, thanks. Are you all set, Chris?
Yeah,
Yes?
definitely.
Okay. All right, I'm good. All right, so no other comments at this time. Who would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
I'll support her.
Okay,
If you
all in
wanted to go home,
favor,
says
please
letting you do it.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. So the motion is by Treasurer Darnell, and it's seconded by DePalma.
Thank you.
Man, I feel so left out.
It was much better than I thought it was gonna be. I thought we were gonna
Ain't
be
getting
here till
dividers.
11 again.
Oh, so did I.
You probably didn't get them all back.
Oh, I always do, 'cause I always get into the
I was gonna say, I'm staying in my seat for once.
Well, you have a good night.
Can you just